higher vibrations, and so are you. There has been such a crazy shift in the energy. A lot of you are feeling these symptoms, and I just kind of wanted to bring this up really quickly. A few of the things that a lot of us are experiencing are vibrating, weird sleep stuff. One that's new is like this just bursts of irritability, or some people are already calling it even rage, that are coming up right now. I'm sensing it too. Like, it's really weird because I don't typically go there. So when I do, it's like, whoa. Anyway, so I'm here today joined by Guardian Zoltan,
Hey,
J.Zoltan.
everyone.
Welcome. How are you today?
Feeling pretty okay. Yeah, I mentioned on the last event that I did that I had some ear issues, so I did some upgrading on my hearing.
Right.
Yeah, so I'm really enjoying that, especially that since vibrationally, like so many shifts are happening, and also sometimes there's this like I'm not sure if it's because of the heat or it's like a vibrational thing, but this type of like pressure that like comes and goes from time to time, I can feel it especially in my head.
Yeah.
This like sensation is like going over you and like pushing your head downwards. I don't know. It's very unpleasant, especially if you have some kind of ear infection or some kind of problem in your ears. They're
Yeah.
very sensitive to pressure, and it was not a good combination. So I went to the doctor and I found out that I had petrified earwax deep in my ear. And the pressure was like pressing against that hard blocks of things in my ear, and now I can hear so well. So it's crazy. I gotten so used to not hearing that now it's like, wow, I'm listening to all my favorite songs and soundtracks because I'm enjoying them in a new way now.
Well, I'm
Really
happy
cool.
for you. Wow. So they called it petrified wax?
Yeah, I saw it when they took it out. It's with like a pea-sized piece of something that like
Wow.
accumulated deep in my ear.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I wonder if that's related to this. I actually got this got brought up in a conversation with someone. Um, and it was realized that this is likely purging. I don't know how much y'all know about what we're doing with purging. That's kind of the garden. I called you garden.
Guardian. Guardian.
My goodness. I feel like I'm a half pace behind today, by the way. Like, that's one of those things that I'm just, when you're just, it feels like you got out of bed too late. So, like, everything's just a little bit. So, I will let myself take a moment to say welcome to everyone who's joined this call. Thank you for being here. Ms. T's Time's here. Colin's here. Hi, Colin. Astra's here. Christina, Aaron, Spiritual Warrior. Those are who have commented that I can see. If I've missed anybody that's linked in from Guardian's side, it was just um, it wasn't intentional. I would like to reiterate what we were saying with the fact that the level of purging that our bodies are doing right now is really crazy. It's off the charts. Like, we're talking about our skin purging through our skin. We're talking about purging, meaning so like your sweat is coming out weird, feels has a weird texture to it, or like it's
Or acne is coming out on your face. I'm
right.
experiencing that too for some reason. So
And we were told we'd have to worry about it after we got to a certain age, right? So I kind of feel cheated.
yeah, I mean, I didn't have problems with it, but now in the past 2 years, it became a constant for some reason.
I actually asked my guys what that was. Why? Because um, I've been looking for a word because it's not acne, quote unquote, right? And they said that it's dehydrated sweat. And that's how I really saw that sweat's been a vessel or a way for toxins to leave our body more lately than before. And so it's like not able to leave through the pore all the way. It just kind of gets blocked up because it's not quite as liquidy. If that makes any sense. So I don't know. I found that really, really useful. I have a question for you, Guardian. I know this might be out of the blue. Um, there's been this conversation that I noticed that I was curious. Something new came to my understanding today. Um, I've always, when in spirit, in spiritual energy, seen it and understood it, that in even the master energies that have come to me through spiritual experiences and stuff, um, the left hand is where the energy flows out to when you're assisting someone, and the right receiving. And that's how I've always done it and always experienced it. And I mentioned it in my live yesterday. There were a few comments that had in that video. And so I'm just curious, do you have a different direction? Do you send from your right or your left?
I'm not sure, but like what it brought to my mind is that in ancient Egyptian hieroglyphs, the left hand is always the one that takes, and the right hand takes away, and the left gives, basically. So
Right,
this
right.
also has a symbolism there too.
Interesting. The right takes and the left gives. So that's exactly how I do it.
Yeah,
That's how I energetically do it.
coincidentally, yeah.
Fascinating. That's funny. So and then the right is the divine masculine, so we could tell a gender joke here if we wanted to. Very interesting. So when you do healings and stuff, like we had done a healing together, you and I, as I was your client. Um, when you do those things, do you notice an exchange of energy to be very specific, or does it shift as you do it with who you're with or what's happening?
Like the way I experience it, it's also, I guess, it's because we are like not in the same space. But like I experience it that I'm my own like energy, like pillar of light, and like the person that I'm working with is their own little pillar
Yeah.
of light, and we are like connected through the heart, or like I'm projecting minimal energies towards them, and everything that needs to happen to them happens. Basically, I just like hold space for them and communicate things that they need to hear during the transformational sessions, basically.
Interesting. That's so fascinating. I swell my energy over the other person, so then we end up like being like a
Mhm.
Vesica Pisces. That's fascinating. Everybody does things so different, and you don't ever think to ask those questions. That's really cool. So Aaron's here and notices that there's a mirroring on this. So this is my right hand. Um,
This is mine.
there you go. So we're both mirrored, I guess.
Yeah, like
Normally,
Restream is mirroring us.
right. We normally, if you do this on Zoom, the mirroring is corrected for the audience, but for some reason it's not done on this platform. So, um, if anyone, by the way, if anybody has any questions that they'd like to ask us, we're here to offer some of our own input based on experience and what does come through um, in any kind of channeling. It makes no sense, any kind of channeling way. So feel free to ask your questions. I know, it's really funny how the mirroring thing works. I still haven't figured out how to do these shows if I'm not mirrored, because that's how I'm used to seeing my image. And so if I have to hold something up in front of the camera, I won't be able to touch it. Like if it's if it's corrected. So that's why it's done this way.
Yeah, like I also want to like bring everyone's attention that we want to do some kind of special Zoom event with higher vibrations. We've been talking about it for quite some time. I'm not sure when we're going to do it. We'll talk about it later. But just in a nutshell, it will be a group channeling session on Zoom. So it's not going to be broadcast or recorded. And just as Higher Vibration holds her Zoom meetings, basically,
Mhm.
we will turn it into a group channeling session, kind
Yeah.
of. And
Yeah.
yeah, everyone who will have the link will be able to join. And what I also encourage, I know like many people just write in stuff, but like I would highly encourage like actually asking questions yourself, or like having a conversation with my guides when I'm in the channeling state. It's a far more interesting experience than just like reading two lines and okay, like some information will come through for that as well too. But when you like try to have a conversations with higher beings, very interesting stuff can come through. So
Yeah. Yeah, and the follow-up understandings aren't able to be exchanged with it. I find that it's similar to um, someone showing you a photograph of an individual and asking you something about them versus having a Zoom meeting with them. You know,
yeah,
there's you're just gonna the energy, their presence, it's a whole different experience, and so you get much more for your moment if you're present for it for sure.
yeah,
It's gonna be
because
a lot
like
of fun.
you can connect much more deeply rather than just like someone reads you a text message from
Yeah,
someone.
right, right. And the um I Tehute, is that how you say that? We put it in your
Oh
bio.
yeah, Tehute.
Would you like to explain this instead of having me slaughter it for you? So what's the process of what we're gonna do when we all
Oh,
get
okay.
together?
Yeah. So it's basically what we do during if I have like an individual channeling session with someone. I will go into a. I'm not sure how deep of a trance because I'm very present, but when I come out of it, I feel the difference. So in a relatively deeper state of trance, when I pretty much turn off all the unnecessary processes of my brain, and yeah, like in that deeper state, I connect more deeply with my guides or my higher aspects, and I basically let them do all the speaking stuff. But I'm also present. I'm basically doing the translation for them because I'm receiving information from them, but I have to convert it into some type of understandable language, which can be difficult sometimes, especially when they have some very abstract things to communicate.
Yeah.
But that's my part in it, yeah. And it usually takes about an hour or so, or maybe an hour and 20 minutes or so, but I'm not able to do it for much longer. And
Yeah.
I think like last year I found out that even people who do it, I don't know, like professionally or like seasoned professionals in channeling, they also do it for an hour and I don't know, a few minutes or so.
Yeah. I remember noticing that too when I was we would do we did some group stuff before, and I think I was the reader. I think we did it live on your channel, and I was like the reader of questions or something like that. And I could feel the brakes being put on at like 57 minutes each time, 57. And then I'd look and oh, yeah, it's been 57 minutes. And like, so your soul or higher aspects send out a message to me at that time to be like, warning, he's about done.
That's all I can do.
That's
Yeah.
funny.
Yeah, but it's not, I don't know how to explain it. Like, it's not draining or anything. So I feel very energized.
Mhm.
But you could, like, imagine how difficult it is to, like, hold this precision focus on something for just like 1 minute or 2 minutes. And imagine, like, holding that precision focus for, like, more than an hour. Like,
Yeah.
that's kind of tiring.
Right.
When you have to be like that present and aware and focused on a specific thing, because if I let that go, then the whole state just like dismantles itself and I don't get anything.
Right. That makes sense. I I do these group channeling meditations. Like I don't actually prepare a meditation. I just say, okay, we're gonna do meditation now, and then it's channeled, and so I'm along for the ride too. Um, and it's fascinating that you said this though, because it's the same for that. Is that when I go into this meditation channel state, um, it lasts for usually about an hour,
Hmm.
sometimes a little less, sometimes a little bit more, but most of the time it's just that's almost exactly. I'm not looking at the clock or anything, you know? It's really weird, isn't that? I wonder
Yeah,
why.
I guess like that's how much the body can handle. I'm not sure.
Yeah, yeah, maybe. We have a couple of questions. You want to ask or connect to the audience and answer some of these questions? I'm having a
Yeah,
hard
if
time
you
with
want to.
speech today.
I will. I think. Can you see mines like I see for Mariana de Klerk? I'm not sure if that's. Yes, that's the question. Yeah, that's our first question.
Okay. How can my soul mission as a gate opener slash torchbearer slash initiator slash motivator slash inspirer put down in the new earth energy be and live my highest expression? Um, how do you be and live your highest expression as someone who is these things? I think is the question. Um, how can my soul mission as a gate put down in the new earth energy be and live? How can my soul mission wait, I don't understand. Do you understand the question, Guardian?
I guess like how can you express your soul mission if you're like a gate opener, torchbearer, initiator, motivator?
So what, like a title, like a name?
I'm not sure. Like I would reflect on like what I did or something. Like I haven't done it in the past 3 years, I guess, but I also did a lot of gate opening and initiating and doing planetary healing and grid work stuff. I'm not sure if I guess some people are still doing it. I'm not for some reason. I
Hmm.
guess my time is up or something. But yeah, like in general, I think like you just know like how it works. For example, like in my case, I did a lot of stuff like like intuitively or automatically. I was like drawn to specific places, and in the very beginning, I had like no clue why or like what my task there will be. But just like me being present in certain places at certain time did something.
Yeah.
And in the beginning, it wasn't very clear, but later on, it started to be very clear because, like, nature also reacted to what I was doing whenever I did this gate opening or closing stuff. And yeah, like, I intuitively did stuff on those spots. And I found out, like, years later, it was very difficult because I haven't really found information regarding this topic. But there were like other people on YouTube too who were also having similar experiences. They were also describing what they have done. And like I guess like all across the world, like people we didn't collaborate or anything consciously, but we were just like drawn to do a specific thing at a
Yeah.
specific spot. And then you later find out, hey, like other people were doing the exact same work as I was.
Yeah.
But we had no clue that this is even a thing or something. But
Yeah.
now we have a lot more information regarding that too. But yeah, I think just like follow your intuition of like if you're drawn to somewhere to do something, and many times just like your simple presence can change stuff and shift things around.
Yeah.
And if you're not drawn to do anything, then just take a break, focus
Right.
on something else.
And that's the something else often is what's is connected to it in some way as well. I would say that I do the same thing. I've been accused often of being airy fairy because I am somebody who just I understand that what's meant to be before me comes before me. It just kind of shows up, whatever it is I'm supposed to be doing in that moment. And so I get to just skip in life. Is how I do life. Is like, okay, now I'm gonna do this thing over here. Okay, what's what we're doing now? And just like Guardian, I did these same things. In fact, I recently, surprisingly, I had thought the same thing. I hadn't really done any of these types of work since probably 2020 or something.
Yeah, that
And
was a very heavy year
yeah,
for
man,
planetary grid work.
there was so much to be done. It was fun though. It was still a new toy back then, just like, whoa, are other people doing this too? Um, the one I just recently did this work surprisingly in a remote viewing way that I haven't done in like 4 years. We were doing the Bermuda Triangle, and then I started hearing people talking about this Bermuda Triangle activation that's occurring behind the scenes, and I was like, interesting. I wasn't the only one that. And then there was the Sri Lanka Tibet one too, And so then the next one that's happening is the Hawaii Scott. So anyway, um, what's really cool though is that for me, my answer to this question, I guess that's why I had a hard time answering it, is I just be. That's all you got to do is just be, and whatever feels right for you in that moment, you're just guided to do it. You just start to do it. And also you notice a pullback, and this isn't, sometimes my humanness will get in the way and I feel like, but I'm supposed to do this thing right now, and you're having a pullback because your body needs to recharge. You can't be in it all the time. You need breaks.
Yeah, exactly. Very true.
Yeah.
Although I think like this 2020 and 2021 was like a very heavy year of doing all that work. Like I
Yeah.
know like there were periods when it's almost every other day something happened, or there
Yeah.
were like situations that you had to deal with, like planetary grid and energy wise. So a lot of shit went down those years.
Yeah.
Not just on the surface, which everyone was able to see, but also energetically. A lot was happening those years.
Right. Right. That was fun. I would say that reminded me of being, I thought I was like in the Harry Potter movie. Guardian would send me a clip of something to like what's going on right now, and like cuz I couldn't actually get it. I was in a situation, the problem was is that my internet sucked really bad, and so I couldn't explore. And so it just felt like that the one of the last Harry Potter movies where you're like listening to this secret radio and getting the what's happening kind of thing. So it was pretty fun.
Crazy years.
Should we grab Mia? If you
Yeah,
have
we
one
have.
that you want me to say, what's that?
Oh, should I read? Okay. Do you think it can be possible I can feel body symptoms of my dog? He's having gastroenteritis, I don't know what, and I
Enteritis.
suddenly got some belly issues. Yeah, like I haven't experienced it with pets, but I did experience something similar with loved ones. If they're like experiencing, I don't know, like throat problems or some kind of internal something, I can also like very mildly feel it in my own body if I'm near to them or connecting in some type of way.
Mhm.
And yeah, like sometimes it's difficult to like, I don't know, like differentiate it from your own stuff, because like many times you can like confuse it that, hey, like I'm having those symptoms,
Yeah,
or I'm getting it from someone, or I'm getting someone else's symptoms, or is this mine? So
right.
yeah, but after a time you can differentiate it and learn how it works.
And you definitely can connect though to I've felt trees. I felt a tree that was falling ill. And I felt the experience of the tree. If you're whatever you're connected to, you have the ability to have the flow of that glow. You get to have that energy move through, and so there is that energetic conversation. So for sure, I mean, the easiest one to compare it to is my kid. Everybody has their stories. Mine, the biggest one is that I will be so absolutely beyond tired until my daughter falls asleep. And as soon as she falls asleep, I'm like, and
Yeah, like,
I realized I
yeah,
was feeling her.
especially
Right?
like when you're like putting her to sleep and you're like cuddled together, and I also feel like, oh my god, I'm going to fall asleep, and like she falls asleep
Right.
and I'm like, dang, okay,
Yeah.
time to continue.
Yeah. And you're feeling them and their exhaustion, not your own. Isn't
Yeah,
that
like it's very
so
crazy.
fascinating?
But
Right.
sometimes I used her exhaustion energy so I could sleep better too. So
That would be a good idea. I don't do that. Like I was
yeah,
awake at 5:30 this morning. It's becoming a thing these days. Um, and I would say that if it's disturbing you, you can also choose to guard out this energy if you don't want to have this
yes,
exchange. The energetic shielding is what we would call
yeah,
it.
okay. Yeah, we
Yeah.
have another question from MST's time. Oh yeah,
Miss T's time. All
yeah.
right, this
Do
is a
you know
question that
her?
Guardian's
Okay.
probably going to want to answer. You want me to read it?
Well, you can read it.
How
I
do
will
you
answer.
channel from a beginner's perspective? I want to explore this for myself, but how do I start? How do you differentiate between channeling and your own thoughts? The last one's the best question of that whole pile of questions. Go, I'll let you take it first, Guardian, if you'd like.
Okay. Yeah, like the short answer, like you can go to my channel, and we did a live event 3 weeks ago on how to channel and like how it works. We also addressed a lot of questions there, and we did a I don't know like 40-minute meditation exercise on like how to tune into different types of consciousnesses and like how to read their energy and how to relate and harmonize with them. So I would recommend to go there. And the interesting stuff is that how do you differentiate between channeling and your own thoughts? Well, yeah, like that's a very tricky one because they kind of become the same when you're in the
Right.
channeling state. So whenever you receive information or communication, it will most likely usually be they will be expressed as your own thoughts, like your own voice speaking to your I don't know how to describe it. Yeah, like basically your own thoughts. And
Right.
like even if you're channeling or not channeling, you're always receiving inspiration and communication from guides or higher beings, which are also expressed as your own thoughts. But yeah, I think you have to like learn and exercise a lot on like how can you feel the difference between the two. But yeah, I think the only way to work with that is like practice and like observe yourself. Like when are you rationalizing something? When are you coloring something because you have a specific belief system regarding something? Like that can really like limit that information that you're receiving, because we usually receive information in a very pure and objective way, but when we receive it, we instantly, not necessarily deliberately, but we put it in a box, or I don't know, we start to color it or rationalize it, and the information becomes distorted. So that's one of the biggest challenges with channeling, of like keeping the information pure, basically, and like stepping out of the way of the information so you don't
Yeah.
distort it. But that comes with a lot of practice. So yeah.
Yeah, I would say that even the pros still let their intellect get involved a little bit here and there.
Yeah,
Like,
like they also talk about, I think I've seen something recently with Lee Harris, like he's been doing it for 20 years or so. And he was like talking about the same stuff. Yeah, like it's almost like an art or something that you can never practice the fundamentals enough.
right, right.
They
I
seem very
find
simple, but they go very deep.
right. And it's pretty consistent across the board when you talk to starseeds and people who are in the awakening journey, that you do hear your own voice in your head. Hey, we're getting a solar flare right now. Impact. Um,
Outside your window.
there's a it's fun. I have this it's some type of news something that I don't use that was just on the computer when I got it a long time ago. I
Hmm.
haven't changed it because it says high UV now with an alert on the corner of my screen when we're getting a solar flare impact to the planet. It just it's I didn't know that was what, but yeah, it works out. I don't know if they are doing it on purpose or not, but there it says high UV, and that means that we're getting a solar flare impact right now, which makes a lot of sense. Um, for the energy that I've been experiencing this morning, oh my goodness, I am so disoriented and scattered, as y'all can tell. Um,
I
I
can
love this
totally
question.
relate to
What was
that.
that, Guardian?
I was like, I can totally relate to that. And not just like you guys, like on the other side of the planet, we have the same thing.
Yeah,
My wife said it's almost like your head is in like in a bubble and you're like floating through space or something.
that's a good way of putting it. Yeah, just and then you're in too many realities at the same time or something. I don't know. Um, I wanted to comment on this question because this is actually where I would say that most people are able to find that that belief in self, that belief, When you find belief, when you can do something with 100% belief, then it it happens. The result is immediate and is profound. And to be able to discover this is to learn to channel. And I would say that all of us are channels. And this is what's really cool. This is kind of a fun side note that I was getting ready to say earlier. There's this thing that came out 4 years ago that no one had asked anyone before. So no one compared notes. There are people who don't hear their own voice in their head.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Isn't that weird? And what's
It's
funny,
like almost as weird when you're like reading a book and you don't see the images inside your mind or something.
right? Yeah, like I've actually met some people who are unable to visualize that are on this awakening journey, but so far, the people who I know and that are part of this awakening hear their own voice. And I find that to be very succinct because usually early channeling sounds like your own voice, like Guardian said. It sounds like you. And so, how do you differentiate between them? It's very obvious it's not me, though, because the vocabulary being used, the terminology, it's my words. They use my own vocabulary, but the way that it's stated, it's it's Spock like. It feels to me. It doesn't feel like I would talk, um and I also just there's a way it's done. It's different. Over time, slowly, my own voice has changed to you could tell who it is. Um, but at first, it was only like my own voice. And it's funny too because the people who don't hear their own voice are also equally shocked when they hear that we hear a voice. They're like, it just goes on forever. How do you go to sleep? It's so funny that. So,
Yeah.
did you cover automated writing at all in that just
I
one?
think I did, yeah. But yeah, like that's a great way to start with. But basically, automated writing is like something you can do on your own, like take a notebook or something and like ask a question. You don't have to like write it down and just write down the answer that like comes in naturally. Like don't think about it. But yeah, like before you do any type of channeling or this type of work, like you have to clear yourself and make sure that you are in a create a sacred space around you, that nothing unpleasant may disrupt the whole process or you don't get distorted information. And yeah, just make sure you tune into the highest source possible, ask your guides for help or assistance. And yeah, like there will always be someone that you can communicate with, like with whom you are in resonance with. And most of the time it's the best to start with your guides, like they're the closest to you, so you can connect much more easily. Like I also communicate with my guides constantly too, because we're very deeply connected, so it works
Right.
easily. And yeah, like it's like so crazy that after a time, like they get a different, I wouldn't say like different voice, but the way they phrase things and like put information together, it's like it's not necessarily like shocking, but it's like you're like, oh, like I haven't seen that so far. I didn't put two and two together this way, and like,
Mm.
oh, it's like it's so obvious, but I didn't think of that. They like
Yeah.
make these very interesting connections that you're like, wow, like I didn't think of that, or this is new, yeah. Or like even crazier stuff can happen. Like I did the teachings of Thoth the Atlantean, that book, like that's written in like old English, and like verses, and it sometimes it even rhymes, and I'm like, holy shit, like, I could not come up with that. I don't like literature, so I could not come up with that on my own.
And for it to just come out like that and so perfectly. That's
Yeah,
fun.
very strange. It was very difficult while I was writing it because I didn't understand it, and I think it was like in the third chapter I was like fighting it, like holy shit, like this doesn't make any sense. And
Right.
like source of information was like, okay, like stop, just stop, and like read what you have written so far. And I read, I think it was like two sentences, and I was like, "Holy shit, this is amazing!" Like, let's continue.
You're like, I hope I didn't lose the whatever, because you know how you do that sometimes. You interrupt your own channeling, and then do you do
Yeah,
that?
and you
And
like
like,
don't difficult to like reconnect to that same flow again.
yeah,
Yeah, that's why it's
I,
so tiring, and you can't really do it for more than an hour because I mean you can kind of do it, but at the beginning it becomes like very wobbly.
right. I find it to be like it's and speaking. If I'm not speaking when I'm going in, then making it so I can use my voice is a way, it pulls me out of trance. Like, and
Yeah,
that's really frustrating. But the way to remember what they're saying is to say it out, repeat it, and so there's this
it's also
um
difficult with like guided meditations because like if you do it on your own, you can go very deep. But
yeah,
when we do our meditations almost every week now, like I think like more than half of my attention and energy goes into making sure that everyone understands what I'm trying to say
right.
and that everyone follows along what we have to do.
Well, that's
So I
what's weird
don't
too.
go in such a deep state of trance, but I heard that other people are enjoying it, so I'm happy
Yeah.
for it.
Yeah, for those of you who haven't checked it out, Guardians Channel, I typed it in the comments. It wouldn't have come up on the Facebook side, but on YouTube you could see it. He has a lot of really awesome things that he's already produced, and you'll see him pretty frequently. You just came back from a vacation someplace. Where did
Yeah,
you go?
I took 3 weeks off. I had to move to my mom's house for 3 weeks.
Right on.
And we had
What?
so many things going on. I said like, okay, like I need to cut corners and I have to like exclude stuff from my life because we were very busy. So
Right. So this part of the planet was more densely populated.
yeah, it was my hometown where I spent the first 19 years of my life, and I didn't really enjoy being there.
No.
But like New Earth is starting to manifest, I guess.
Right.
And I had the very shocking and pleasant surprise of being there for 2 weeks. And we're like prepping to go. I was like, oh, like 2 weeks. Oh, like, okay. I guess we'll get through that somehow. But yeah, like it was a very good experience. Like not just like for example, since I was born, like everything just like was like deteriorating. Like nothing new was made. Just everything was like going to waste. Or it wasn't a very good place to be. And also, people felt very limited and dense there.
Mhm.
And now, in the past 5 or 6 years, like everything is being like restored. There are a lot of new stuff and opportunities and amazing stuff happening there. And also, people are so nice. I was shocked. Like people are
Wow.
going to stand with you on the street and like, hey, like how are you? Like so, and I don't know. And I haven't been there for I don't know, almost like 20 years. No, not yet, but like 15 years. I wasn't in that city, and like especially to like have chats with your neighbors. Like
Mm.
we lived there for I don't know how long, and we didn't even know like who lived in the same apartment complex necessarily.
Well,
And now we're having chats with people. So
mm,
I was like, wow, like everyone's so nice. It's so
wow,
shocking. Yeah.
that's really cool. That's fascinating because you went there for the time that we had the planetary energetic reset. That
Oh,
I how
really?
I yes, how I interpret what we're doing right now. It felt like a big, like, hold the button down and start the program over kind of reset. That's what it felt like. And for you to be there during that time, I wonder if that's why you saw all of this joy and this upliftment, was that the reset had already been underway.
I hope so. Well, we have a lot of resets and recalibrations happening all the time.
Yeah, dude.
Minor and larger ones too.
What was that one? I got this fascinating message that came through, um, that it kept over and over again. Everything is currently fading into or out of being. Please stand by. I kept hearing that, and I would hear it in different voices. I knew it was and it was just really fun because that had to do with the reset too. And this was last night, all through the day yesterday and last night. Um, and this kind of goes into the we don't always hear it through as our voice. Sometimes it only ends up coming through as speaking. And so when the one thing that I just want to bring up with channeling was when I started to actually believe myself. It was when doing dishes, interacting with water.
Yeah, like that's a great time to channel.
Yep. In the bathroom, when you're sitting on a pot of water, or you're in a shower or in a bathtub, or anything to do with water, natural waterways, interacting with it. This is when stuff comes out the strongest. This is a conductor of this energy, so it makes it more pure. Um, and singing is where I find it coming out the most in my voice. It always rhymes, and just like Guardian, I can't plan that ahead. I can't do that. Like I'm not that, like it's a whole song, but
Yeah, I'm
it's
not that smart.
right. I mean, I could make something sound pretty good, but I also go to like the dictionary and then I'll go like cat, bat, sat, like I'll find the one that fits, and they're just like bam, 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 it just fits right in. And so, um, what I would say, if anyone is doing this, the most useful thing that I found is using an audio recorder on my phone and just letting myself just say it, whatever it is, just to talk, just to sing, let it out. And now it's documented. I think that it started that they rhyme things for me when it's the most important that I remember it. That part is always rhymed, so it's something just to keep. Uh, and then we have some other questions. Should I move
Yeah, we
on?
have to call in. Yeah.
Which okay, so you said Colin. Let's find Colin. Okay, here we go. Colin, I saw my first ET recently in a lucid dream. Wow, light blue skin, biped, so that's like two legs, large eyes, face I can't describe. I was slightly shocked, but felt zero fear. Felt it cared about me greatly. Any thoughts? That's really cool. Would you like to share on this at all? Do you know what type of being this is, Guardian?
I don't know. There are a lot of blue guys.
Yeah, there are surprisingly a large number of blue people.
Yeah, like you even have, I mean, they look human like us. They just have like blue skinish. I think you can see those in the ancient Hindu scriptures or so.
Right.
Yeah,
Shiva.
because like if you lived for thousands or millions of years under the light of a different star, you would evolve differently than us.
Right. Right.
Yeah, they usually do have. I know, like the large eyes is like a very pronounced feature that everyone sees. And I also like you also mentioned like when you like enter the astral, like open up, and many people are reporting that like eyes, seeing a lot of eyes, watching. But yeah,
Mhm.
I'm not sure like about the being, but yeah, like if you said, I mean, of course you were a bit shocked. I mean, it can be very surprising,
Mhm.
especially I guess, yeah, like it's you said it's in a lucid dream. Yeah, like the part that I don't like even today, that these weird stuff happen during the night. Like I just can't come to terms with that. It's so unpleasant, even if it's something good, but like when you're in that vulnerable state when you're trying to go to sleep or you were just sleeping in
Mhm.
your bedroom in your cozy bed and something weird happens. It's not a pleasant place to be, but yeah,
Yeah.
like I guess like they were trying to get your attention, like remind you that hey, like we are here, and like they are here to remind you of, I guess, who you are or what types of agreements you had in the past or prior to coming into this lifetime.
Mhm.
And yeah, like I think it's also like an invitation if you want to interact. They just wanted to let you know that you have this connection and you can do stuff with it if you want to, but you
Right.
don't have to. Like you can choose. Or maybe if something similar happens and you're not in the mood for it, then you can ask them to leave, basically. So no one is forcing you to do anything.
I found as you were talking, I connected to this a little bit, and this is really cool because I can answer the question very specifically to Colin. Is that these particular energies that are coming forward for you are coming forward to teach you the mastery or understanding of water. It's and really interesting that got brought up because we were just talking about water, but this they feel like they have to do with water, like they're a water being or something. They have knowledge of water. That's just to answer your question specifically. I have this is to trust yourself, right? Like Guardian was saying, sometimes we can't always know. There's more to the question, so I should. The experience only lasted a few seconds. I think ETs have been doing extensive work on me now and then for the better part of a year. Yeah, I would say so for a lot of us. But it was all just energetic interaction, was nothing visible to me. So why the appearance now? When energies have come forward for me every time, there's been already an existing relationship for a while before I know that we're talking to this person. Like, and I don't know how long it's taken usually for me to come around to where they can like, but the way that they look at me, it reminds me of how family members would look at their grandma, or someone who's got some type of memory thing like dementia or Alzheimer's or something. You're like, you know who I am, grandma?
Yeah.
Like that's kind of how they interact with you. And so I feel like they're like slow, at least with me. Um, I like feel like they're like slowly trying to bring us into recollection of who they are in this conscious way, because in this dream state or this higher state, we're more able to accept the experience without the fear. And all of the stuff that we've already talked about has to do with this very thing, is that all of these beings want to do everything they can that's possible, to assist us all to feel safe. Therefore we can actually utilize the experience. If you don't feel safe, no energy goes all the way around. It stops everything. And so they want to make sure you feel safe. So presenting specific archangels for protection and stuff, like Guardian was mentioning earlier, is useful to give you that sensation of safety and calm. So my answer, because due to all that, would say, Colin, they would appear now because now you're ready.
Exactly. That's what I want to say.
Oh, really?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah, like because probably, I mean, maybe this is consciously the first time you actually experience them.
Mhm.
Probably there were a lot of stuff before this that you don't remember.
Right.
Yeah, which is good. So cool.
Yeah. And what you will remember all of it. I find I tend to recall all of it later on. It just, you remember it, and then you remember how old you were when that happened too. Like I've had, oh my goodness, aha moments that have changed everything that I've been doing, that I was given when I was 6. And I remember having that dream when I was 6. And when it came back, it really shifted my everything. So whenever we're ready for it is when we bring it in. Should we grab this one from Aaron?
Hmm.
I feel our DNA is a receiver of energy, frequency, and vibration. So, like a tuning fork, we have to match that resonance to be able to interpret the message. Some things I do to match resonance are, this is some actually really good pointers. Grounding, wand and staff building, and holding copper, silver, wearing hemis, hemsic, hemisync practice, forest baths, swimming. So these are all really awesome. There's a lot of other things too, like having to do with food, fasting. I do intermittent fasting. There's a lot of things that, as a receiver of energy, of information, of frequency, of any of these things, that we are a clear channel when our body is more in alignment. So the people who are putting a lot of toxins in their body on a regular basis, who aren't taking care of themselves, things like that, that fork isn't going to be that well tuned. And it's not because it's not a forever thing either. All that person's got to do is put the Twinkies down and get another hour of sleep. You know what I mean? And then back into alignment again. So um, and some of these things are practice, learning as energies around us and interact with our energetic field to accept what's useful for us and to leave the rest. Sometimes we want to say, oh, cool, it's a message from up somewhere else, I should take it all in. You can tell with your discernment, you can tell if it's going to be good. And if you don't know how to do that, one of the most useful tools is, if you send love at something, if it is of love, it will send love back by a whole bunch more than you sent it. And if it's not of love, it will flee, for the shadow cannot stand before the light.
Yeah. Yeah, like also takes a lot of practice. Like when you open up, I mean, you always have to be like properly tuned. Just we were speaking about like clearing yourself, doing your protection work, to, like filter out the unwanted energies. But yeah, like even like during astral experiences or something, you can have experiences with lower beings or something. And I mean, it's not desirable, but that can be useful too, because like then you recognize that type of energy. And like when you encounter it again, or maybe if you want to like open up the channel or something and you sense that energy, then you're like, okay, like, no, like,
Mhm.
no, thank you,
Never
please.
mind.
I'm not buying that. Bye. But
Yeah.
yeah, like use your discernment. And just as High Vibrations has always said, like we are the best lie detectors. Like
Mhm.
your body will signal you. Like if it's something's off or something's wrong, like your body will signal that to you. It may be
Yeah.
subtle in certain sometimes, but if you like pay attention to your body, you will feel it. Sometimes it's very pronounced. Like for me, it's I could like I would say it's almost like when I know like two cats like try to fight or something, and like their hair like stands up on their back. I kind of feel the same way when something very nasty like comes near, or I sense an unwanted presence. I like oh my god, like these chills are going through my spine.
Yeah.
Like okay, like I need to pay attention because something's happening.
The prickly on the back of your neck, the prickly.
Yeah, I don't feel that, but my whole spine like goes super freezing and
Uh,
well, a very unpleasant sensation.
I tend to get like, I feel like there's really warm energy, but I don't like it when that's my body signal. Like warm meaning it just feels like someone's on the front of my face. Like
Hmm.
I would say the energies that, at least for me, that aren't in alignment with me tend to be space invaders. I'm that person. If I can reach out and touch you, you're too close. Like, don't talk to me close. Like I need my bubble a little bit. And like, so when energy does that, when spirit does that, they're like right in there. Then it's like, no. And have found that energies that aren't coming for my highest joy and highest good tend to be space invaders. They creep into your bubble.
Yeah, like they stand around you or something, especially behind you. Like that's how I sense
Yeah,
it. Like it's
yeah.
almost like there's something behind you in your shadow, like hiding from your sight. Can sound very scary for some people, I know, but
Yeah.
yeah, you can just
But,
send it away.
that's what yeah, you can
You
send it
know,
away
you
super
can kick it,
easy, right? How do you
you
do
can kick
that?
its ass.
Yeah.
That's what I did in the beginning. Then after a time, they stopped coming because I wiped the floor with their face, so they stopped coming after a time.
I had some energies that really unpleasant. I mean, they came in. I think it's initiation of some kind that we tend to have, like, especially earlier on, um, where we have people come in that, or energies come in that are not in alignment with us, and they don't feel that great. They feel like attack, and they probably are in some way. Um, though I know that without having that energy, I wouldn't know what we could do.
Yeah,
You know, like you, like the whole sink or swim thing that some people do. The idea of just jump in and see what happens, kind of thing. Um, I wouldn't have realized that I could be like, stop, and then I'm like, whoa, look what I just did. I wouldn't have had that need, and so it shows us our own power. I would say that that's really the purpose of it.
yeah, like it's your own, I know, like your own body letting you know that, hey, you should pay attention to this because something's happening.
Right. What's another way to clear yourself as a channel? That would be, we got clean water, clean food. What kind of things do you do for clean living? Like, what's a good, um, for someone who has very limited physical activity? What is something that they could start to do that would help move the energy out of their body? Like,
I know, like start moving or something.
they're moving.
Yeah, yeah, like that's an all vital part of us like functioning properly. Like even if it's something difficult, like my mom has difficulties with that. That's why we also had to go there. And there are therapeutic stuff or physiotherapy or stuff like you have to move your body. Like there's no way around that. That's also what the doctor said. Like she had a hip replacement thing happening because like her joints were very deteriorated, and that's what the doctor said. Like you have to move. Even if it hurts, you have to move.
Right. Move.
Yeah, yeah. Like we were built to be constantly, I know, like scavenging, hunting, and like surviving and running away from stuff. Like we were not built to sit on chairs. So
Yeah, I would say that the posture thing that the human civil experience has been based around lately has more to do with the computer than anything else, like the screen of any kind of screen. But I would I would add something there, is that when I was doing some stuff with other individuals that had very limited mobility, and the the only way that this person really felt the desire to move was to dance, but she couldn't do it even sitting. Like, it would hurt her because she had a couple different surgeries in her back. Um, and so what we would do is I'd go over to her house just to like encourage her to do it. And we would both lay on our backs on the floor and floor dance, like back dance, and dancing when you're sitting is another one. This is starting the flow and starting the movement. Like, I know that there's some people, like over the past 4 years, I know I've noticed my muscle loss over the past 4 years. I've been so much less physical, but I've been doing this type of stuff the past during that time.
yeah,
Um,
like our body is great for adapting to anything we expose it to. So if you didn't move, then your body said, like, okay, like I'm not going to spend all this extra energy in like maintaining muscle mass because you're not using it. So
right.
it's preserving your energy and optimizing your body for whatever you use it.
Right. And so just start slow. Starting slow, dancing in your chair. There's chair yoga, and then start to move further, like, I don't know. There's just the reason I'm bringing this up, Guardian, is that was the main theme of most of my emails this morning. Like, I was just scrolling through, and a lot of people are like, how do I start being healthy? How do I start? How do you start? Start. Like, the first thing to do isn't to go get a gym pass. It's dancing.
It's great, but
Yeah, I mean, if you want to, I would say that in this country, more people get gym passes then don't go to it ever. Then at least, and like to start out with just resistance type stuff, just I've gotten so much more fit over the past little while, and all we do is dance. Like we dance, and no one's looking here, so we feel like we can do it all we want. Um, and qigong is an example of what I mean by dance too. Is like this is a way to let the energy flow out, and just kind of like you said, fine tuning the fork that you are. So I saw a segue to that conversation that had got brought up today by all those emails. There was one other comment, but oh yeah, so they wanted to know. So this is for Colin. The answer was someone thought maybe they were Arcturian. So just wanted to put that out there. Do you want to close this up, or do you have anything else that you want to talk about before you want to keep going, or?
Oh yeah, like regarding Colin, yeah, like that's a good point of the Arcturian. But yeah, like regarding Colin, I think that's a male Scottish name, right? I think.
That's Colin, yeah.
Yeah, okay. And yeah, I just wanted to like mention it also in a live event that I have noticed, and in the past half year or so, I have a lot more male audience than I did 4 years ago. Also, due to the magic of YouTube analytics, I've seen like 4 years ago when I started, only like 12% of my viewers were male. And now like 30% are male. And also, a lot of guys are commenting on videos. So awesome. I salute you, brothers. It's awesome that you're embarking on this amazing journey.
It's been really fun to watch the male energy coming forward. You're right. Like when I found you, you were in a pool of a bunch of girls is how it worked out. It sounded really dirty. I didn't mean it that way.
I
Colin laughed.
remember like Blue said once that they're like groupies or something.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my god.
Yeah, and now, yeah, like divine masculine showing up. It's been so much fun to watch. Like what about little brother? I remember saying that. What about the little brothers? What's going on? And what it's been is, I mean, there's a lot of different purposes and reasons, but is that there's been such a conditioned thing that's been so deeply emphasized in the male experience that has been, for one reason or another, I'm not a dude, so I can't speak for dudes, but it's been liberated. That tag against the speaking has been kind of released somehow, and it takes people like you, like Colin, like individuals stepping up and saying me too, to make it easier for other people to do it. That's why I even do YouTube, is just to say me too. Anybody else. Because when I met Guardian, I really thought that I was the only one still. Like I was expecting down the road now, actually, but back then there wasn't supposed to be, I thought, anybody awake yet. And then I found Guardian, and I found a room and connection in like the comment section where I could talk to people who understood me and said me too. And yeah, I know that. And this is what I did. And a lot of times I have solutions, and it was because of Guardian that I ended up doing YouTube at all. And that was a circle sideways way of saying, Guardian, I honor you and I thank you so much for the service that you
I
have.
also did YouTube because other people did the same thing, so I was inspired by them. So it's like paying forward the ideas and inspiration. Yeah, like also the whole fact that like realizing that you're like going through these stuff. I'm talking about Colin right now and all others. That like just realizing and like acknowledging to yourself that hey, like I'm going through some serious changes here and I need to own my own shit And
Yeah.
also like publicly like talking about it, like leaving comments and expressing what you're going through, like that's also pretty huge in my humble opinion,
Yeah.
because many people don't even get to that space where they actually acknowledges just to themselves that, hey, like something's happening in my life
Right.
and I need to acknowledge it and do something about it.
And it's actually real. It's really real.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like that was also very difficult for me too. Like I was fighting it for quite a few months, and the more I was fighting it, the crazier it was. It was
Yeah.
like almost my guides, like, hey, like you rationalize this, but what will you say about the next experience? It's going to be even crazier.
I just reminded me, man, my guides were so much more vocal when I was saying no to them.
Really? Oh, okay.
Well, like I just they were more I didn't I just forgot about that phase of my life, and then I realized as I was saying it was because I didn't want to do YouTube. I was saying no to them. And but they'd been telling me to do YouTube for a while and I didn't want to. There was no way. There's
Yeah,
no
I also need quite a few months or even years to
Did
like
you?
actually do it.
Interesting. Hey, do you mind if I ask you some questions about your early YouTube? Or we need to get
Of
going?
course. I mean, I don't mind.
Okay. So there's this. So this is something that a lot of you don't know. Guardian had a YouTube channel a long time ago, and
2013. So
yeah, just barely after 2012. And um, I remember finding your video, and at the time, I remember interpreting you as like a kid, which is funny. Anyway, you had described what it felt like to me to be embraced, to have this hug from this higher energy being. And then you disappeared for a really long time. And I'm just wondering what happened in that like disappearance.
in that absence, yeah, like I just found one of the videos. I'm not sure if I can paste in links here, but I just did. So if anyone wants to like check out, this is a recap of a very old recording when I had the QHHD regression session. And
Awesome.
I'm talking about that, and that was in 2013, so
Right on.
a long time ago. Yeah, my face was much thinner than right now. So
Your voice was cute too. Like it's just
really,
because I've been watching you grow up, it feels like, like and I'm sure you feel the same about me in some way. It's like we changed and shift so much the past few years. And like I was just wondering what brought you back? What brought you back to
it
YouTube?
was the lockdowns.
Yeah, okay.
Because like in the when I did in 2013, like I don't really remember like what was the initial inspiration for me doing that, but I guess I just wanted to like share it with other people, like
Mhm.
what I was going through. And I did connect with quite a few people, and the things that I shared, like I received a lot of emails that it helped people with their own experiences and what were they going through. Because like very early on in my experiences, I learned how to navigate the crazy stuff.
Yeah.
And I was sharing a lot of videos about that, like especially to people who had some very traumatic experiences or like abduction scenarios and weird shit during the night. I
Mhm.
was talking about a lot about that and like how to overcome it and like what to do about it. And yeah, I didn't have a big following or so, but yeah, people watched it and connected with me. And I remember that I think it was in 2014 or so. Like I was entering another phase in my life, and I felt like I was not able to do that type of sharing anymore because it's kind of taken away from my own spiritual evolution. Because
Mhm.
like whatever happened to me, or I had a profound experience, like my automatic thought was like, how can I put this into a video or something, or how can I rationalize it to explain it to other people? And I started to realize that I'm like ruining the experience itself, because like I don't let it be what it is. I'm trying to make it into something that is not, just for the sake so that other people can hear about it. And
Right.
I decided
Right.
that okay, like I need to stop with this. It's not doing any good for me.
Right.
And
That
yeah, I
makes
stopped until 2020 when the lockdown happened. Yeah, like in especially like during the 2013 and 15, I thought we kind of like passed a specific threshold in our evolution, and like those crazy shit that happened will not happen because like we passed that already. Because like we had a threshold during 2012, 13 and ish, where we had a possibility for something like that to happen,
Yep.
and we passed that, and I was like, oh, like we're good, and like we're on a timeline where weird shit don't have to happen in order to make the shift real. And then 2020 happened, and I was like, holy shit, I have to do something about it. That's so when I started YouTube again. Like, I'm not sure how much it helped, but I hope it helped a few people around the world.
Dude, it helped me. A lot of the people that I talked to at that time as well. Like it was like became some kind of support group for each other.
Hmm.
Like it was really beautiful. I would look, and it was on every Monday. You would go live every Monday, and even though you were live for an hour, I would set it up where I wouldn't do anything on Monday. Like Monday was like it was Guardian of Orion Day. That's what he used to call himself. And like I um looked forward to it all week long. There was a couple of times where he had to cancel and like I was so sad.
And we
I'm
had
like,
a
no.
baby, so
What was that?
we had a baby. I had,
Oh yeah, you have your experiences. I
yeah,
would
we
do.
had some very difficult live events that 5 minutes before starting, I was changing diapers or something, and I was like, I'm so exhausted.
Yeah,
I was like, okay, like I can't do this today, and I said like, okay, sorry,
right.
the event is off.
And you could hear her crying in the background. So
Yeah, I
you could
don't
tell.
remember that.
Yeah, that was sad. Um, Around that same time was when I had the session that someone just asked me about. So I'm gonna click on them. Vesper says, Mila, you said Guardian helped you become comfortable. Um, I lost my story with your appearance finally. I had physical dysphoria, or I don't remember what it's called. I would look in the mirror and I would see someone grotesquely, disgustingly ugly my entire life. And I talked about this earlier, and I remember your question. It seems like we had this. Maybe I didn't get a chance to answer you. Um,
I
um,
don't remember. I haven't
yeah.
seen.
So what Guardian had done, I had a session with Guardian. Um, I don't. Do you still do sessions, Guardian?
Yeah, we had one in Friday on Friday.
Awesome. And that information you can find like your website, body dysphoria. Thank you. You can find your website on your YouTube channel because I've already linked your YouTube channel. Could people find your?
Like you can find links in every each video that I have to
Okay.
everything that you want to have access to.
Okay. Um, the session that we did. So Guardian, I don't know how many of you know about Guardian's connection with Thoth, the Atlantean. Um, and
No,
when he
it's
was
more
talking,
like Thoth, not Atlantean.
what was that?
It's more like just Thoth. Like Thoth the Atlantean is a different energy.
Oh, okay, okay. Um, well, the works that Guardian has channeled is from this individual, and during the process of doing this book, of channeling this book, we were also connecting. Um, anyway, what had occurred was a series of events that had to do specifically with the healing that Guardian and I had done. Um, Very soon, I was having an experience with this Thoth energy. Um,
Really?
Yeah, and that had to do with the freedom of, I always forget the name of that spell,
Uh,
the book of spells that you have in
okay,
the,
I know. Okay, you also confuse me too. Spell to freedom of mind, I think,
yeah,
or freedom of mind or something.
freedom of mind sounds right. Like, it seems like there's a couple more words to it, but
Yeah.
um reading this out loud, as a like self-declaration, was the final trigger. I heard a series of doors, like doors unlocking, and I was just excited to go and find out what was behind them. Um, very, very quickly, I noticed this was really weird. This is really, I knew that I wasn't seeing my own face, because I'd see a picture of myself like a year or so later and I'd say, oh, I didn't look so bad back then. But now, like, that's how it worked for about a year, whatever it was that I had going on. And I would look in the mirror and I would see someone completely different than I see. And then after this occurred, I literally saw myself, who I know as me, or I knew as myself, as my own reflection. It was like it melted away. And I saw somebody totally different. And then I had this whole thing that I had to like work through, is that that I'm not ugly, you know? Um, and so it was, and I'm still, working through figuring some of that stuff out. So, if you do get a chance to connect with Guardian Vesper, if this is something that would that you're experiencing, I know exactly what you're going through, and I had no idea to the what depth this connect this had. I would say that healing was probably 3 years ago, and in that
Maybe
time,
four,
has it been
maybe
4?
even four, I think.
It
Yeah,
was
I think it was
2021.
early 2021,
Yeah,
like January or.
it was February, because it was right before my brother's memorial.
Oh, okay.
Um, yeah, and by having this session, it just unlocked myself. It unlocked the truth. It was like it uncast spells cast against myself. Whether it was done by someone else or myself, I don't know. Um, so, and Jacaranda Marie's here. She says, "Oh yay, hello you two live," or hello to you two live. Good to see you. I see you were just talking to her too. Um, so, yeah, so if someone wants a session with you, how do they make that happen? What's the process?
Oh, what do we make happen in a session?
How does if a person wants a session with you, what would they do to make that happen? Would they have to
Okay.
email you? Is there
Well, you have to go to my site. Like you can find a link to it on each and every of my videos, live events, you name it. And you go to my site, and you have a ton of instructions and details on how it works.
right on?
Yeah,
Perfect.
you can go to services or testimonials, but on services you can find, like currently I do, you have like free options, like free channeling sessions, which usually for some reason in the past year everyone wanted a healing session. But
Right.
yeah, that's what we did recently. Yeah, yeah, like you
Oh,
can schedule it there, and when you pay for, you make a donation through PayPal, and when you do that, then I will email you to talk about the specifics.
awesome. Thank you. I just posted in the comments on at least I don't know if it shows up on your YouTube
I
channel or
think
not.
it doesn't. It shows up on the restream.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay. And it
but
shows up on my YouTube channel. Was that
well, I just wanted to say that in general, like how the sessions go, is like it doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to be strictly what you think it's going to be. Like it says, I don't know, book for 1 hour channeling session. Like it can turn into a healing session too. So whatever the individual needs or requests will happen, basically. So it's very
right?
fluid and intuitive. Whatever you need will happen.
Most of us don't even know what we need before we have a session. We just know that we need something. We know that there's some guidance for it. And like Jacaranda Marie has this. My session with Sultan was amazing. He brought me back to an area of ancient Egypt, and I learned some cool things about how I worked with crystals way back then, way back when. That's really neat. Um, I had another session with Guardian that was different than the one we just talked about. Everyone's different. This particular one, it turns out that I had a lot of stuff like that was left behind from an earlier time when I was kind of force fed some medications. That's what happens when you're a teenager and you tell people you're talking to Pleiadians in those days anyway. Um, and so as we were doing this, it was so cool. Like I had a physical response to the healing that we were doing. I've never had that happen before, where um, I felt it was like I was being reset because like I was having like a neurological response through my spine, and my whole body was going like this. It was bizarre. And then above me, I didn't have a window open. This was in the middle of winter in a very cold place on the planet. And so I didn't have a fan or anything like that. But my dream catcher above my head was moving violently or a lot during this. And while Guardian and I were doing this awesome exchange. So I don't know how many sessions Guardian offers. It seems like people are asking a lot. Where can I book a session? So his website is Guardian. Hold on. I don't think I can.
Guardian,
Yeah, what is that?
a little line in the middle.
Orion.com. So Guardian line.
Yeah, but it's in the link. Yeah, but just go to any of my videos, and in the description you will have a link, so you don't have to type in anything.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's a and then in there you go to services, right?
Yeah,
Yeah. Okay. Um
and if there's something's not clear, then just write me an email.
and yeah, and Guardian's email is in every one of his videos, and you can find it on his YouTube channel as well as yeah. I'm really excited for y'all getting some healing on. Get your healing on, man. There's so much to heal right now and so much that can be healed right now. It's such a beautiful time to do this healing. So if anyone has the availability and the time, this is the time to do it. The spell to freedom of mind, Guardian just said.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Vesper has a comment about it. Freedom of mind from so yeah, he put the correct wording up here. I will pursue this material. I've been subscribed to you both since last year. I will also look into sessions. Thank you both. Thank you, Vesper. I'm going to pull up this really quick so people can still see the correct spelling. There's throughout this text that this channeled work that Guardian and Thoth have done is there are these what are called spells, and at the end of the book he puts them all together, and it's just like the book of spells. So you can find it in the book and then also at the end. And you also have an audio that's a YouTube video that has really cool music too.
Yeah, it took me almost a year to make the audiobook for it, but if you go to my YouTube channel, I guess the first thing that you will see. And there's also a continuation for it, which is called Thoth, the Book of Immortals, which is narrated by our how do you say that? By both our favorite audiobook narrator.
Yeah, I couldn't believe you got that.
So, now I actually had the money to hire someone to do it. So
that's awesome. That's
yeah,
really
check
cool.
it out too. That's only like a 28-minute long video, basically.
Man, it's really cool.
Like after I did Teachings of Thoth, the Atlantean, which you can find a free PDF or if whatever format you want to read it on online. like the same year, a few months later, I continued the book, but I didn't publish it since last year, I think. Since, I
Right.
don't know, like 7 months ago or so. And yeah, like I just realized that I was not, no, I was waiting for the book to continue because I had the impression that it was the beginning of another book. And I
Right.
was waiting for the continuation. It never came. I was like, there's
Mhm.
nothing there. It's like a void. And I was like, okay, like maybe it's just not time for it or something. And I think like 7 months ago or more, I made the realization that, wow, like this is the continuation of the previous book. And I was like, oh, I was just not allowed to share it because we were like not on a proper timeline where you can like publicly disclose these types of things. I
Right.
was like, okay, like I'm going to share it now then.
Yeah, there was a big time there for a lot of different things where it was like, not yet, hold. Like it was like, why? But it wasn't time. And when people weren't ready, they wouldn't have received it as deeply or as impactfully. For whatever reason, when you did produce it, it was perfect. It was perfect. If anyone hasn't checked it out, I strongly encourage you to do it. Um, well, I'm not seeing any more questions coming up. And I was just wondering, do you have anything else you want to add, or should we close her up?
I don't know. I don't think I really have anything.
Okay.
Shared many thoughts and links and texts. So
Oh wait, I can pop this up. Why didn't I do that? Hello. There we go.
no, like, that was a good idea.
So here is Guardian's website. If you don't have to do the about part, that's just happened to be for some reason. I have it on. I have it saved on my thing here, but for some
Oh,
reason the about is where that was probably where I was at when I did it. Anyway, um, go to the if you want to check out his website, that would be where you would find a way to connect with him, as well as on his YouTube channel, which is linked to this video. Um, and then Guardian and I will be doing uh, like a
oh
channel
yeah.
session, quest Q&A kind of situation. When have we decided we were going to do that? I can't remember.
Well, we can do it next week if you have time.
Let's check out my
You're
calendar.
going to be the host of the event because I am unable to do anything in that state other
Yeah.
than speak. Oh, you
Uh,
have a nice ghost
trying to
phone.
read. Can, what was that?
You have a nice ghost phone. It's like it's there,
Yes,
but it's not.
very. I just wanted to check my calendar for my schedule because I also do sessions, and so I have to go to my website to make sure that I could do Tuesday next week.
Okay, well, we can talk about it, and yeah,
Okay.
like we will make an announcement anyways.
Okay.
So yeah, like so higher vibrations will you will create a group Zoom meeting link basically,
Mm.
and like people will be able to join the group meeting through the link in the community section, like just as the same way as you do your regular Zoom meetings, basically.
Okay. So what I'll do is I'll share it in the community section as well as in the Telegram for my community, and then Guardian will have the link to share with whoever he feels that he'd like to.
I will
Um,
put it also on my community section.
I would encourage you that if you have a very clear, concise question, it usually helps to write it down before you come. Um, it gets so exciting, and being in the energy of um, anyone in a channel state, you can feel the frequency of the being that they're channeling, and sometimes it makes us feel nervous inside. It feels exciting.
It does.
Nervited is what Maddie says. Nervous and excited go together. Um, and so writing it down is really useful. So, um, and then I look forward to having this exchange. That would be so much. And Jacqueline Marie, I gotta just because she's part of this. Like, I'll watch the replay. So happy to see you both live. Feel your energy. Missed you guys. Much love to all of you. I've missed you too. I've been thinking about you so much lately, Jacaranda. You have no idea how often I've thought of you the past couple of months. It's over the top. So I'm so happy to see you. I love you. Thank you for chiming in. Um, I guess we should get going. Thank you all for joining us today. I'm going to say my goodbye and then I'm going to let Guardian do it because we're both hosts and we don't know. So I'm going to give everybody space to do that. So thank you all for being here. Aho blessings.
Yeah, thank you for joining, the same, and hope to see you next week too on the event.